Okay, first of all, it's not to discourage anybody. You see, when it comes to your eBay shop, it's absolutely your sole responsibility to decide, whatever you want to do with your shop. If you want to continue to sell items that are very, very expensive, yes, I also have to start with that. It's your decision, it's your prerogative. If you also want to sell items that are very cheap, and just keep working and kind of grinding, it's also your decision. Nobody's going to come here. I'm not going to come here to try to advise you. Just like I'm also passing through this predicament right now, and I'm just sitting here a little bit angry, but also grateful for the position I am in. One should not be unmindful of the fact that, yes, reselling is this. It all depends on the kind of items that you can lay your hands on. You see, long story short, yesterday I came to the warehouse with all the motivation in my life. I felt like, okay, at this stage, I literally have hundreds of items in this warehouse just lying around, all in the name of, I don't even know what to call them at this stage. Should I call them dead pies? Should I call them, forgotten inventories? I don't know what to call them, guys, but I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm going to call it dead pies. The nature of the things I sell is pretty much typical. I say use computers, like I flip them for profit. I flip monitors, laptops, phones, whatever, everything in between. Just put it on a broad category, IT hardwares. I flip them for profit. And the nature of this business is such that the more items you get, the more things, parts, small pieces just keep coming out of these items. It could be a graphic card. It could be a cable. It could be a hard drive. It could be a switch. It could be whatever, a hard drive card. It could be a RAM stick. It could be DVD drives. It could just be a whole lot of stuff, guys. I'm just telling you, these are a few things I can even remember. They are network adapters, they are processors, they are everything that you can think of. Power supplies, the list goes on and on and on. Yesterday, I came here with all the motivation I have. I was like, okay, right now, I want to begin to deal with all these items I have here, because this is not sustainable. I can't continue to just, buy expensive items. At the end of the day, a 10 euro item is left, a 5 euro item is left. I want to continue to list them. I want to come here. I pump myself up, I was like, it's going to be war on these items. I'm going to end up listing them, and hopefully I should be able to do justice to this dead pie or these items that keep, hanging around. And I was telling myself, I want to turn a new leaf, starting from this new month, September, starting tomorrow. I am going to take all the care to ensure that anything that is left over from a transaction must be listed immediately, must be sold. This was the thought I had. But guys, coming here, when I saw the pies of what I have, I literally have, like I said, hundreds of different stuff. Wireless LAN adapters, graphic cards, monitor stands, monitor base, lamps, cables, guys, I'm not kidding you. It's just a lot. And then I was thinking to myself, right now, I want to list these items, I'm going to end up listing like 50 of these items, and I'm going to spend like 5 hours listing these 10 euro items, At the end of the day, somebody's going to send me like some price request for like 9 euros or 8 euros. And then I'm going to accept it because the item has been sitting, is not selling, And then I'm going to ship this item out. I'm going to pack it up. And then perhaps somebody's going to return it. Let's say the buyer doesn't return it and they tend to keep it. At the end of the day, I just make about 2 euros, from sitting down here, listing well over 50 different items. I really don't know if this is what I want to do, because right now, I think my time is more precious than that. At the moment, yesterday I did list a desktop PC. I'm just trying to take a look at exactly the model number of that PC that sold. I did list a Dell Optiplex 5080 PC. Beautiful transaction. Buyer bought it for 294 euros. I listed it. easy because this is something I already have a template for. I know what to expect. I know the condition in which the PC is. Didn't take me anything to list it. I was even happy listing it because the PC was a very beautiful PC. Take a look at it, a beautiful design, and I was happy to list it. I didn't have to make new pictures because it's something I already have pictures for. So, and then in less than, let's say 5-6 hours, the item sold for like I said, where is it again? For 294 euros, including shipping. This is beautiful, decent. And then yesterday again, a laptop, a HP, I'm just trying to take a look also, a HP EliteBook 840 G7, also sold for 429 euros, 429 euros, 10 cents for everything, which is for the laptop, for the shipping, and for everything that the buyer had selected, because on my offers, buyers have the possibility to select what kind of SSD they want, what kind of RAM they want. This is what I do, and I found out that this is just one beautiful way to list your item because it gives people the opportunity to choose whatever they want. You do not have a situation where somebody comes to your shop, wants to buy a PC for, say, that has, say, 512 gigabytes of SSD, and because what you have listed is just a 256 gigabyte of SSD, the buyer goes elsewhere to buy it. So I tend to list my items at variations, and it has been helping me a lot. So I'm just taking a look at these two transactions, the 429 euros PC and a 429 euro laptop and a 294 euros PC. I'm taking a look at this. There are two beautiful transactions that made me well over, 100 euros in profit. Just simply, moving some buttons here and there, clicking on some few folders, picking some pictures, listing it cleanly, and these PCs have sold, giving me my profit in my pocket. And then I'm taking a look at the things I need to list. This is one of the many items. I really brought this out yesterday. This is a new item, and as a matter of fact, I have over 25 pieces. I'm not kidding. I have about 20 pieces of this thing right here. It's a port replicator, a HP port replicator. The problem is that it's a little bit of an older model, and most of the new notebooks now, they do not use this kind of port replicators. When I took a look at the offers on eBay, somebody was already selling this thing for 10 euros, including shipping, including the power supply, everything. And then this item, as it were, is not an item I can ship as a 1 kilogram item. It's well over 2 kilo. And if I have to sell it for 10 euros, first of all, I have to make pictures of this item. I have to also go ahead, and list it and try to, figure out what are the ports, try to ask ChatGPT and do all this stuff. At the end of the day, I'm going to list it for 10 euros and somebody's going to, buy it. I'm going to ship it as a 3 kilogram item. And I don't know if I'm going to make €1 doing this. I really don't know if at this stage it's even worth it. I've got, main boards lying around. I've got processor coolers. I've got monitors, some small monitors I bought back in the days, 14 inches, 19 inches, that nobody ever uses anymore. I've got keyboards all lying around. And I'm just asking myself, is it really worth it to go ahead now, pump myself up and try to list these 10 euro items, which is going to cost me like, 5 hours listing, like 50 or 100 pieces of them. The annoying thing is that on every item, I need to make new photographs. If it was a €100 item or a €50 item, I wouldn't have a problem doing that. Or if it's something I can, easily pull off the photos from somewhere, I wouldn't have a problem doing that. But if I have to go ahead now, list everything, make pictures of all these items one after the other, I don't know if it is something I want to do. And as a matter of fact, yesterday, even though I was highly motivated, I'm not going to lie, man, your boy just turned back. I picked out a lot of the items. Like I said, this was one of them. These are the RAM sticks I had on the side. I was supposed to list these ones. I also had this NVMe drive right here. There was an SSD, just like you see right here. These are just a few on my desk. Right here, there are a lot of stuff. I'm not going to lie, your boy just gave up. It happens to every one of us. It happens. Sometimes you are so motivated to want to do something, and from nowhere, demotivation sets in. It takes extra effort to actually shake it off. And I'm not going to lie, I wasn't able to shake it off yesterday because I was trying to do the maths. Do I spend 5 hours right now, trying to list 50 different small 10 euro items? At the end of the day, how much am I going to make from these transactions? And then, am I not just going to increase the headache I would normally have because people are going to buy this stuff? One annoying thing about some of these buyers is that they go out there to your shop without thinking, without reading the descriptions that you have put sweat and blood in trying to develop. And they don't read it, they buy the item, and then they want to send it back because of some funny reasons that they will give. And most times they will just tell you that they ordered the item, by way of mistake. This is if they want to be polite. Some other times they will just write you that the item doesn't work. And I don't know if this is something I want to do, so I'm just sitting here right now. I was really having a difficult time because that was yesterday. I went home, came back this morning, still trying to motivate myself, but I was like, guys, you might have to help me here. I don't know. Does it make sense? Does it make any logical sense for me? Yes, I know I preach a lot of, stuff on this channel. Go all out, do what you have to do, list the items you have to list, because if you are not listing, the eBay algorithm doesn't see your shop as being active. This is what I preach. Of course, sometimes the human element sets in, and I am just a little bit, at a crossroad with these items. I do not know if they are things I want to spend this precious time listing. Come to think of it, time is of the essence. Of course, I know somebody's going to say, you are making a video, why not just go ahead and list this item? I want to do it, believe me. I want to list this item, but I have absolutely no idea where to start from. If I had a picture, a database of these pictures now, it would have really helped me out. Just close my mouth, close my eyes, knock them off one after the other. But, thinking of the fact that I have to bring out this stuff, I have to test them. This is not actually difficult to test because it's pretty much new. It has not been used. So for items like this, I really don't need to test it. But for these RAM sticks, you're going to do yourself a lot of disservice if you do not test them, because, yes, over the years, I've forgotten which ones were working, which ones weren't working. The power supplies like I have right there. I'm just going to bring it so that I show you what I mean. See, like the power supply like this. You see, I'm not just going to take this off the shelf and start to, sell it. What I have to do is that I pretty much have to first take this thing, put it into a working PC and, connect it, set it up like I'm going to test it, make sure it's working. The fan is not making some funny noises and doesn't smell something burning or something like that. And then I'm going to do all that, and thereafter come around, make the photos and try to list them all for 10 euros. At the end of the day, ship it out and just make 2 euros off of it, or €2.50. I don't know if I want to do this. This is the crossroad I am in now, because I also have the possibility to, use this same time to list a functional PC that's already ready to go. Taking a look at it, I see that, yes, this is a decent PC. I can actually go ahead and list it and just sell it off there and then. But if I keep doing that, that's going to mean that I'm going to have a ton load of, small items, 10 euro items lying here in the warehouse, taking space, giving me this impression that there's all money lying around, and I don't know, perhaps something I could also do is just to bundle them up and sell them as a bundle. This might be something I have to do. In this case, I probably do not have to make photos of every singular item. I could just take the graphic cards. If I have like 20 pieces, put them in a box and say, look, guys, I have 20 pieces of graphic cards. They are untested, but ideally, they should be in good working condition. That is actually a very good idea. And this is just coming to me right now because I didn't think of this. I was actually having this struggle since yesterday. Do I list this item one after the other? Even thinking about it kind of makes me, have a little bit of headache. But then this is the idea I'm going to do. This is the idea that just got to me now, and possibly this is the direction I am going to take this to. I'm going to bundle these things up in a carton and then just label it as graphic cards, different, types, different capacities. Some are 2 gigabytes of DDR4, 2 gigabytes of DDR3, you know, 1 gigabyte of DDR2, whatever it is. I'm just going to label it like that, and I'm going to go ahead and sell it off, you know, for cheap. This is also a good way to go about it. So whoever is buying it, first of all, will be encouraged because the offer is going to be very cheap. Yes, it's going to be like a mystery box thing. That reminds me, I'm going to take a look at, you know, the mystery box thing on eBay and see if I can model, you know, this offer according to what the mystery sellers what they do. Yes, I've got cables, graphic cards, like I said, you know, SSDs, hard drive, HDDs, you know, I've got keyboards. This is what I am going to do. See, guys, this is sometimes why when you have something, you know, bothering your mind, don't just keep it to yourself, you know. Speak it out, talk it over with somebody, because me turning on the camera and talking to this camera is presupposing that you guys on the other side are my friends, my virtual friends, friends on the internet. You see, me talking to you guys is kind of, you know, making me begin to, you know, think, what direction do I go? And in just one instance, I got an idea that, look, I could actually go ahead and bundle it up. Even though this is not a new idea, it's bundling is something that has been around for a long time. Yes, if you are having problems selling some small items, you could bundle it up. Yes, I kind of knew this, that this is something that I could do, but over the years, because I didn't actually apply this method, these tactics, I kind of forgot it until this time now, where I'm having to struggle on what to do, you know, with my inventories, and I realized that, look, I could go ahead and bundle it. Guys, I want to thank you guys so much that you guys are there. I actually have somebody to talk to, and in talking to you guys, I pretty much have found a solution to a problem that was eating me up all throughout yesterday and even up till this time. Yes, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm definitely going to be keeping you guys updated. If you are not subscribed to the channel, let me make a plea. Go ahead and be subscribed. Click on the like button. Until I see you again in the next one. Peace.